So in this video we're going to add a bit more colour here, and then we're going to move on around here. So we were starting to add some texture to sort of define the fur a bit more. So what I want to do is, because we need to add a bit more highlight to sort of just to bring out the fur a bit more. So I'm going to start with the Museum Aquarelle. Just going to sharpen it slightly. I can do it in that one. Okay, just going to see if I can get it on dry. Just bear with me. Let's have a look. Yeah, just going to need to dampen the end of that. So if you don't want to sort of do it on, do it on your finger, then you can just dip it slightly in a, like a glass or a saucer of water. I just want to be able to sort of make that sort of stand out a bit more, and then we'll just go in slightly deeper in the colour of this part here, because we also want to go a bit lighter up here as well. So I'm just going to keep adding, make it slightly damp, just so that it just gets some of that colour onto it. So it's not a toxic pencil, so it's quite safe, to dampen it on your finger. And all it's doing is just adding the highlighted lighter parts of the fur. And just a bit over here, because we want it to stand out, and we don't want it to look too flat, but at the same time we want that to come under as darker, so we may need to add a bit more colour to that part there. Get it slightly lighter there. You can always blend in a bit later on as well. And then we can also just add a bit more up here. And a bit more across here as well. But as I've mentioned sort of previously, we'll go in and define that fur a lot more, but I just want to sort of add some bits and pieces around here. It's quite light around here, but then obviously we're going to need to define some of that colour a bit more just to make it stand out. And that's what what I mean by like going in and adding colour on top of that, because we're just getting the foundation colours on at the moment. We're just adding a bit of texture to it, but you can sort of see we've added the white in, but we just need to add a bit more to it because around here it's not so much like definition to it. So we're just going to go in a moment. Before we move down here, we'll go in a bit to add a bit more to it. And I just want to very gently add a bit more here, because whilst this part is dark, we want to add in a bit of the highlight as well, because it's just not completely dark. There's going to be slight lighter parts of the fur here. Okay, so let's just do a bit more up here. And just gently, you know, short strokes, but sort of just like flicking it out a bit. Okay, so just going to add in a few of, you know, more darker parts, just to see that we have the dark, although we've got light parts around here, there are some darker roots of the fur as well. So I'm going to use the burnt umber. So you don't have that shade in your, I mean, I know there's a lot of colour pencil sets that does have the umber pencils in there, but if you don't have that, it doesn't specify the actual shade, then just don't use your lightest brown, but just go towards the darker end. And we're just going to add in a bit more, getting tangled up on the wire there, and just make the highlight stand out a bit more by adding some of the burnt umber to the roots of the fur. But we also want to make sure that we add in, I think, some of the Venetian red as well, which you'll have in your boxes. Just want to bring in a bit of this round here as well, so that we can see that this is coming from underneath, and then you've got the lighter parts going over the top. And again, we're just using gentle pencil strokes just to, so that we can add the layers up. I'm just going to get that Venetian red. Just define those lighter parts of the fur. So you don't have to do like a really dark line, but if you're building up the colour, then you'll just very gently, it will blend it into the other colours, but you'll still see the different shades, but then it'll also gradually bring in, you know, the highlights of it as well. So I just want to go back to the burnt umber. So it's just adjusting these bits around here, but just being very, very light with the pencil. Just making sure you've got that balance there of the light going over the dark, just so that we can see the texture of the fur, and that we know that this is coming under and that is going over. So you can actually see, if you sort of, take a step back slightly, you can sort of see that it's really building up around here. You've got the darker roots showing through, but then they actually end up coming through into light. And some of these bits up here, you've got the odd occasional dark root coming through. And like around here as well. Just to define, the different strands of the fur, rather than it just being a block of colour. Because if you look close enough, you'll see that each part is just made up of more than one colour. And then if you start looking at it there, because we've gone darker around here, and then we're going around there, and we've got, it's kind of like darker, you can see that adds more of like a three-dimensional look to it, rather than just being flat and one colour. You can just sort of see the curve. And then once we start working around this part, then it'll bring the whole shape of the fox's face alive. And let's try the sanguine. Because we've got a combination, when you look at it, it's got like the browns in there, but it also seems to have the Venetian red and the sanguine in it as well as the light parts. And just, ensure, like I keep mentioning, just go with the direction of the fur. And, it's all about taking your time, relaxing. And another good thing with like doing art is you can, if you like to do things to music, then, just chilling with your music. So when you're coming up underneath, sometimes it's best to sort of go into that direction, so that you're working from underneath, but you just want to flick up under the edges of the fur that's going across. Just remember, we don't want this part to be flat. I want to define this bit a bit more. So if you, when you sort of look into there, you can sort of see from your reference photo, it's got like a nice brownie, reddy brownie colour going in through there. And then it's also got the lighter parts going through there, but we'll just concentrate on that part. And just remember, try not to go over those lighter lines. Just want to enrich the colour. So you can sort of see it's starting to stand out around there, just around this part here. And it's just all about adding texture and colour, and you know, the vibrancy of the different shades of colour. I think that's looking quite nice. You can sort of, yeah, you can sort of really see the way it's just sort of come over. You can see that this is coming underneath. So you can sort of, you know, see that the whole head of the fox is coming together. It's looking more three-dimensional. It's really bringing out those eyes. So what we'll do now is we'll actually bring in the colours around it, around there, and you can see it's, you've got the sort of darky reddy browns coming in, and then it goes more into browny colours around there. So I am going to go with the raw umber, which is the lighter brown, and I'm just gonna, let me just see if I can just give it a very small sharp, you know, sharpen. That's it, just give it a slight point. And so although we brought some colour in around there, I'm gonna, once I've built this around, I'm gonna want that to be a more of a reddy browny colour around that part, but I'm just gonna add this in. This is going to be built up around here. So we've got that line going in there. And this part is going to be lighter, but with some dark built in to give it some texture as well. So, and then there's kind of from there, there's a bit going around there. I'm just plotting in the colour at the moment. And it's going to go round like that. So this part here is kind of like going to be, need to be built up. And then underneath that, it's going to be lighter, flicking out. And you can sort of see already, you know, coming in under there, where we've lightly flicked the colour out, you can sort of see where it's lighter, that part is already beginning to rise from the page. So we're just going to very lightly, just need to go with the direction of the fur. And go into, let's have a look. I'm going to go with the Venetian red. So we've got that bit there. Just very lightly define that part. So then we want to build that colour up a bit there. Because it's got a nice rich reddy browny colour going through there. So just very lightly. You can see where I'm sort of holding the pencil further up. So just a bit more free range of movement. And you've got like a slight ridge there where it's a bit more reddy colour there. We do need to sort of add a bit more of the highlight going through there, but we'll do that once we've done the up part of the eye. Might for the moment actually, because I know when we first started we were just plotting colour around the eye, but I might just sort of lift some of that for a moment so that I can go back in and add a bit of the colour, because it needs to be quite rounded around here. So I'm just going to go back in with the Venetian red and just go with the direction of the face. So we have that bit coming round there, and that's going to be quite a dark, like a dark rich brown there. So probably go in, what we'll do is we'll go in with the burnt umber with that one. So to go under there, because then this part here is going to be like over, so it's got a bit of shape to it. So then you've got the other colours coming in around it, and they'll come in underneath. Just pay careful attention around here. Just go down. And then we want to go across like that. So we just want to make sure that this shape around here is going, the fur is going in the right direction. This is a lovely rich brown, reddy brown area around this side of the face. And that part is quite dark around here. And then just this part here, then it just goes more into a dark brown and then into the light brown. So around that part is nice little rich reddy brown. Just going to get the raw umber, sorry, the brown umber, which is the 280. This needs to be darkened because it's not got enough darkness around there. So before I add a bit more of the burnt umber, I need some of the, actually, what we got here. Just going to use the Luminance sepia. So it's just a dark, really dark brown, so whatever your darkest brown is you've got, then you can use that. But I just need to sort of build this bit up a bit more, because we were just getting the actual brief outline for it, and like on that eye it's got more of a darkness around there, so is this one. There, like that. And what we do, if we need to darken it, we'll go over in the Polychromos black as well. But you can, if you don't have the Polychromos black, then you can just use your whatever black you've got in your pencil set. We're just building up a bit of shade and a bit of colour. Just really bringing out the eye and the shape of the fox. And this needs to be a bit darker as well. So it's like really adding to the colour and depth of the eye already. It's really starting to make a difference. Yeah, I like the sepias and the Luminance, because you don't have to have these. You'll see on your reference photo, if you've got it enlarged on your tablet or phone or your computer, coming out from there is like a whisker, a random bit of fur coming over there. But what we're going to do is we will add that in once we've finished adding all the other colour in. And we're just, again, being very gentle with this part, like we are with the other layers. It's quite a bit slightly thicker than we've already got it around here as well. What I'll do is, when we finish and we're going over and adding the final bits of colour, then I might sort of add a bit more colour around this part as well. although once we've worked around here we're going to end up round here, so I'll just build this bit up a bit more. These luminants are great for adding a nice sort of creamy texture over the polychromos. So this is, with this sepia, it's not quite dark enough. If you refer back to your you know, your reference photo, and I can see we're probably going to need to, with the eyes, we're going to need to take them up a different shade as well to make them slightly darker. So I'm just going to grab, I don't need the Derwent Drawing Black. Let's see what we've got in here. Yeah, I'm gonna use the Polychromos black just to sort of make sure that we've got some deeper shades going right around the eye, and just very gently over the top. And it's like, you know, taking care of this part. You can see that it's really coming up lovely and vibrant already. It's like round here. Just accentuate that part as well. It's got some gorgeous colours, this fox. It's one of my favourite animals. Another one of my favourite animals are pigs. Absolutely love pigs. So intelligent. So we're concentrating, although we're working around this part, what we want to do is we just need to make sure that eye's built up and has the right shade and colour before we add all the other colours around it. Make sure we got the excess pigment away. So you can see, because we're building up around here, you can see that it's getting ready for some the darker colour to come in there. We need to make sure that's darkened before we add in the lighter colour around it. So we're just adding in the foundations of where we're working from. But around the eye itself is where the darker part is going to be. we want is that slightly thicker. It's making a difference already just by darkening this part around here. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to add in the Venetian red around here, and then we're going to go over it in the burnt umber as well. So it's quite darker in this part as well, and then this part here you're going to see the burnt umber coming in a bit more. So just make sure that you have the eye socket right, because otherwise it can look a bit odd. So I'm just going to work in the eye socket, and then because it's the bit that's more under, you know, that's underneath this bit, and like we did here, that came under and then that went over. So we're working on the bit that's under, and then this bit is the bit that goes, the fur goes over and has a bit more body to it and three-dimensional look about it. So everything, because we've got that guideline from the line art, everything around this part is going to be darker. Then we've got like a lighter bit before we go into the greyness of the muzzle. And what I'll do, because not all of the line art is in around here for me, it's probably going to be different for you. I'll just plot in a graphite pencil basically just where I need to be going with it. So I know that part there is going to be the lighter shade, and then a bit around here, but I just need to plot in some more around here for when I do that part. But for the moment we're just going to work around this part. Got that lovely shade of Venetian red going in. And that makes for a nice basis, you know, of the colour, the colour palette. And this is the bit that we're going underneath. So I just want to go in with the burnt umber. So you can see there's this part here coming up from the eye is darker. So yeah, so we just plot the darkness in under here. And then what we can do, as we've got the eye shape in already, we will then go in, so that's the bit where we're going underneath. So then next time what we'll do is we will continue with the eye socket, and then we can carry on adding the bits of colour around there.